Dreamers say we love the alcohol, la 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 la. Just line 'em up and we will drink them all, la 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 la. But my mother always said, if you want to drink all day, you best start in the morning sun, 'cause that's the Irish way. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every other mother will agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every motherfucker must agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me, and you and me, and you and me. Let there be whiskey.
I did tell our podcast.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Chris.
I'm Russ.
And this is episode 268.
268, back in the nerd basement, the virtual nerd basement, or Death Star, as I like to call it. Now you will witness the full destructive power of this fully functional Death Star. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sick. I got some kind of cold type of thing.
I was going to say, wait, you need to explain that a little bit more, because I think everyone knows you're a little sick, Russ.
Well, everybody knows I'm a little sick, but I thank the gods for Zoom call podcasts, because I do not feel well. I have not gone to work at all this week yet. Thankfully, it's only Tuesday. I started feeling it on Saturday morning, and I started feeling a little scratchy, and I'm like, shit, there's no way I could be sick. I have a show to do tomorrow, because I had my play that I did on Sunday, and I just started feeling that initial scratchy throat that you get when you're getting a lot of drainage. So I loaded up on meds, and then I'm like, great. And then Sunday morning, I'm like, yep, I definitely have a cold. And I was able to get through the play pretty well. I mean, no problems. I was just stay quilled it up, and we had a great show. It was a really good turnout. It was sold. We sold like 104 out of 108 tickets, so that's good. We also had got at least two potential like new venues that we can do our shows at. Two of the people that were at the show are involved in various restaurants that want to potentially bring us in, so that was pretty cool. One of which is my friend Anthony, and it went off really great. It's good. And then Monday morning, I felt like boiled garbage. And so it's like my body would not allow me to fully feel the effects of this cold until after the show was over.
Yeah. Only when, work was on the line.
Yep. Body. Yeah. Well, it's just, my body is like, well, the show must go on, I mean, there's nothing going on at work right now that I have to be there for. Like, I'm like, we haven't started full on production yet, so they can do without me for another day. This has not been fun. I did take a COVID test today. I took one of the home tests,
Mm-hmm.
and I came up negative. So thankfully, it's just a really bad rhinovirus and not the coronavirus.
Rhino, not Rona?
Yes. So I am probably going to not go in again tomorrow. Try and maybe go in on Thursday for a little while.
I actually have to go in tomorrow.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's my my one day in the office.
How's the new job treating you? Liking it so far?
Yeah, so far. I mean, there's lots of stuff that I can see potential for things like years down the line at this place. I mean, there's stuff for me to do for years. And so far,
cool.
They're, at least my immediate boss is pretty receptive to my ideas. So He's
Good.
like, this isn't stuff that we can do right away. I said, oh no, this is stuff I know that's going to take time. I'm not coming in trying to change everything overnight. It's just things that I want to make you aware of that I'm seeing that I would like to change.
I see. All right, well, that's good. Keep you busy.
Yep.
Did you see this? Comment that was made from Sound Alerts?
Yeah, that comes up every time. Normally,
does it?
Normally, I start the stream early enough that the Sound Alerts thing comes up before we actually start. This time, for some reason, it delayed, and
I see.
it comes up all the time. It's because I don't have something set right for the Sound Alerts, but it's nothing major. I could completely disable Sound Alerts because we're not really using them right now. That's basically where people can pay bits to play funny sounds on the show.
Oh, yes, of course.
Right. Like I had one in there where, like, if they paid, I think it was 10,000 bits, which is like the equivalent of like $10, then they could rickroll us.
I don't like that.
For $10, I'm like, fuck yeah, sure, you can rickroll me for $10.
Fine, rickroll away. Let's see. Yeah, the rest of the week though, just kind of work and stuff and play and stuff, and we did get the final approval for at least 2 of the new floats, so we will be moving forward pretty soon. We're just waiting for the third okay. The third approval, and then we will be getting full on started, because apparently they want to start doing, like, we're going to be working on 3 floats at once instead of 1 at a time, which is a good idea.
Okay.
So yeah, I've just been trying to feel better. Oh, God.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I did tell Russ that we didn't have to do the show tonight. It was his choice to muscle through. Don't think that I'm a dick that's just that forced him to do the show when he was sick.
No, guys, he's a dick. He didn't want. He was being. No, it's true. I was like, it's okay. I'm not an invalid. I'm not bedridden or anything. It's just I feel like shit. I feel like boiled garbage, like I said, and it's all good.
Thanks, CD. Don't be a dick.
I wanted to do the show for you, ladies and gentlemen, because I care about your Nerd with Alcohol content.
Because the show must go on, right?
The show must go on. Exactly. I performed sick before. I remember I was telling the story at Ren Fair years ago. It was like my 2nd or 3rd year, and I was deathly ill, like on the Friday before opening night. I was so sick, and I'm like lying on I was hanging out with a girlfriend and some buddies, and I don't know why, and I'm just lying on my friend's, like, the floor of my friend's apartment, just guzzling orange juice. I think it started off, I didn't feel that terrible at first. But I started feeling worse and worse and worse.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then eventually I'm just like, I drank like a whole half gallon of orange juice. I'm like, oh God, Ren Fair starts in the morning. I can't I can't call off. I can't call in sick. It's the first day. I gotta be there. I woke up in the morning and I felt like $1 million. Like I had somehow cracked it and then like cracked my fever in the night, and I sweated it all out. I felt like $1 million in the morning. I woke up, I'm like, woo, whatever. It's like my body. It's like my body.
Little Ric Flair.
Yeah, little Ric Flair there. My body was just like, all right, let's do it. That's never happened since. But what are you drinking?
Well, my week was
I'm sorry. Yeah, what was your?
Yeah, it was. I worked. It was my first full week of work, and that went well. And then we had our game Friday night, which was a lot of fun.
It was. We had a great game.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
Big ass fight at the end that took a little longer than I expected, so we went a little late, but only like about 10 minutes. So
yeah,
it wasn't horrible.
Yeah, we still cleared it up right around midnight.
Yeah, yeah. So I was happy with that. Interested to see what happens next with you guys. But yeah, overall, good week. Went and watched my English Premier League team, the Chelsea Blues, play on Saturday over at the Royal Oak Brewery with a bunch of the other Chelsea fans, and then watched them win. And then that evening or afternoon, we were supposed to go to the Detroit City FC game, and which I'm wearing a Detroit City FC shirt tonight. But the weather just sucked. It was cold. It was raining. It wasn't going to let up until at least halftime, and it turns out it didn't let up the entire game. I talked to some people that were actually there. So Renee and I actually just came home and watched it on our TV here, and watched them get their first win in the new league that they're in. So cool. that was cool. Planning on going to the game this week because it's not supposed to rain. It's still supposed to be cold, but it's not supposed to rain. So that'll be fun as well. But yeah, curling Sunday. It was actually me versus Renee in the playoffs on the Sunday Night League. My team versus her team, and I regret to say that she beat me. So
why do you regret it, man? It's okay. Girl can beat a guy. It's all right, man. Come on.
Well, she's the vice on the other team. It's actually this other guy. It's another guy's team. So we had beaten them 2 weeks before, and so we hated the idea of playing them again because you never want to play the same team. So we played them, then we had a week off, and then we played them again, and so it was kind of a revenge match for them. And overall, Renee did play very well. My team actually played okay. I had a few bad shots. Things didn't go our way. We missed a couple of shots by just a little bit, and that was really a lot of the difference in the game. But overall, it was still a good game. Enjoyed it. I still have to be there for the next 2 weeks because of being the one that runs it, but then I'll get my Sundays back.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, that's good though.
Yeah. So
Yep.
So you're not drinking tonight.
I'm not. I'm just hydrating Gatorade and stuff.
I am drinking something that Pete brought over on Friday and left here after the game. It's from Off Color Brewing, which is out of Chicago, and it's called Beer for Golf.
Beer for golf.
Beer for golf. And it's a very kind of minimalistic can, just black and white, something that I might be able to draw up even. It is a wit style beer with lemon and black tea added. It's kind of like an Arnold Palmer beer. 4.5% ABV. The malts are Pils wheat, flaked wheat, oats, honey malt. The hops are nugget, and the secret ingredients are lemon peel, lemon juice, and black tea. It is a cloudy beer, which a lot of wits are because wheat leaves a lot of particulate matter in the beer. It's hard to get that out.
Okay.
It has a very lemony aroma. And I'm going to take a sip here. It is, it's definitely very lemony. There's a lot of lemon and a lot of tea. Okay. This, to me, does not actually taste like a beer. This tastes a lot like an Arnold Palmer. I like Kill All the Golfers from Bee Nectar better. I think it's a better version of an Arnold Palmer, but I can see where this would be a good beer out on the golf course in the middle of summer when it's hot.
Okay.
Because it is kind of refreshing. It's not something where if I want a beer that I'm going to drink this. And I don't know that I would ever actually buy this, but it's not bad. I'll give it a straight up 3 because to me it's not really a beer. I guess you could call it a fruit beer. It's a specialty thing, but I'm going to give it a 3 for my personal tastes. It's not bad. It's not great. It's kind of right there in the middle.
Alrighty then. We should talk about what was that beer that Rich had at that 12%er.
Oh,
that
it was
Rich had
the
at Gaming
something
Hut.
darkness.
Jesus.
That was fucking awesome.
It was black it was a bourbon barrel
Russian Imperial Stout.
Yeah, it was a bourbon barrel kind of thing. I can't speak apparently either. But it was, you could really, I mean, I just did a little sip and you could really taste the bourbon in it. And I mean, 12% alcohol by volume. That was one of the there's one of them sipping beers that you just you kind of enjoy over a long period of time.
I enjoyed that one. He gave me a little bit of it, and it was very chocolatey and very roasted. I got more of that, and then there was a little bit of the bourbon flavor from the barrel, but it wasn't horribly boozy. I didn't feel.
CD's drinking for me.
Yeah, that's right. He's got Mango Tango from Smog City Brewing.
Yeah,
a good fruity ale. And Renee's got a rum and Diet Coke.
Rum and Diet Coke.
Right,
yeah,
we gotta get more rum. That needs to go on the shopping list.
That shit was crazy thick, man. It was black as night, man.
It was so good though.
Yeah, I was kind of like, man, I know I can get it. I get it. That's one of those ones where I'm okay. I get it. You know, it's.
And it came in
not my thing. Not really my thing.
Came in a fancy box with a dragon on the side.
It was like a $10 beer too, wasn't it? Something like that.
12 or 13 actually.
12, something like that. Shit. Better be good at that price.
Yep.
Shit. So, yeah.
But yeah, so our game went really well.
Did.
You guys had a good fight against a bunch of Rangers, actually.
Rangers, yeah, a bunch of hobgoblins.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I always thought that was a really weird misnomer, though, for the kind of character, for that character race, you know, because I mean, I always figured like a hobgoblin would either be a slightly larger version of a goblin, or maybe even a slightly smaller version. You know, it's a hobgoblin. It's not a goblin. It's a hobgoblin. But no, they're like fucking, you know, it's like I said, it's more like like I said on Friday, it's more like comparing them to like the Uruk-hai from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You know, like they're nasty. Hobgoblins are they're much smarter, they're much more powerful physically, they're much more militaristic.
Yep, they're much more tactical.
They're much more dangerous than a goblin. I mean, goblins, the thing that makes them dangerous is they attack in mass. You know, you got to go up against 24 of them, you know. Whereas hobgoblins they can go toe to toe with humans. They're rough, they're slightly larger than your average human, and they're tough. So I think a different name is deserved for that monster race, you know.
Yeah, I mean it comes from, I guess I was just looking it up where hobgoblin comes from. Hob is a word meaning sprite or elf. And goblin is a word ultimately from the Greek word kabolos, meaning rogue.
Mm-hmm.
So
like a roguish fairy elf. I think traditionally hobgoblin and goblin were more or less interchangeable.
Well, I guess this is another one here that says that a hobgoblin is a household spirit typically appearing in folklore, once considered to be helpful, but since the spread of Christianity has often been considered mischievous. Shakespeare identifies the character of Puck in his A Midsummer Night's Dream as a hobgoblin.
Well, like I said, I think for the longest time, people just kind of like they used them interchangeably. You know? And then, but for Dungeons and Dragons, a goblin and a hobgoblin is a very distinctly different character or racial class. So I don't know, just really different.
What's the difference between the Green Goblin and Hobgoblin?
The Green Goblin came first.
Yep.
The Hobgoblin was a ripoff. He was essentially. He was a kid. He was a guy that found a bunch of the Green Goblin's weapons and armor.
Yep.
And then changed them to to become his own character. And he was pretty dangerous for a while. I mean, but then when they wanted to bring the Green Goblin back, they kind of turned him into a bit more of a joke.
Yep.
And there's been different versions of him and stuff like that, but for the longest time, the Hobgoblin was just chasing the glory of the Goblin, trying to be that dangerous villain that really scared the crap out of Spider-Man. And I don't think that that really happened too much. So there was talk of making in the original 3, because you had James Franco as Harry Osborn. There was talk of making him the Hobgoblin officially, the Hobgoblin, because in the 3rd movie he did end up, jumping on one of his father's old, gliders and suiting up, and he had his face had been scarred, and that he was going to be the new Hobgoblin. But I don't think they didn't officially go that route, I think.
No.
So no. So anyway, should we get into it? We got a few things. I got a bunch of quick hits, and then let's why don't we start with your Batman thing you talked about a couple weeks ago?
Well, we talked about this last week.
Yeah, last week. You know what? Let's do these quick hits first, because I think the Batman thing will take longer. So first thing we saw today they released a trailer for the new Ghostbusters video game called Spirits Unleashed. And it looks pretty fucking cool. The trailer looks pretty badass, and you can play as one of the 4 Ghostbusters, or you can play as a ghost, avoiding the Ghostbusters. Now, you're also not playing as any of the original Ghostbusters. This looks like it's actually a kind of a sequel to the most recent movie, in that Ernie Hudson's character, Winston Zedmore, is basically passing on the torch to a new, or the, as he even said, or the particle accelerator or particle thrower, to a group of new Ghostbusters. Dan Aykroyd also has a voice in it, where I guess at one point you go to visit him at his occult bookshop, and it looks pretty cool. It looks like it's a team of 4 customizable Ghostbusters against a variety of ghosts the sole enemy player can choose from. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it says that it's Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed is Dead by Daylight for zapping ghouls. I'm guessing that this might be like a group play kind of game too. Like you could probably play it single player, but I would imagine you could play online with multiple people. And it looks fucking fun as fuck, man. I mean, I'm down for anything Ghostbusters, man. I love the Ghostbusters. And the new movie was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. It's high on my list.
It really was great, Chris. It does pluck on the nostalgia strings a lot, but it's still so much fun and sweet and just really great. Yeah, so it looks pretty cool though. This game, you might want to check it out. It did not give us a release date, but it did say. As of this writing, it's out in Q4 22, so the end of the year, and it will be available on the PS4, 5, Xbox X, and PC later this year.
No, CD, it's not a Pac-Man sequel.
It's not a Pac-Man sequel? Good Lord. Work. I think we're overdue for a new Pac-Man. We're overdue. I think that would be really cool. Also in gaming news,
hey,
Activision
Ghost Hand. Good to see you, man.
Wow, we haven't seen Ghost Hand in a while.
PS3.
Yeah, the PS3 Ghostbusters.
Great also.
I remember playing that. It was actually quite good. It really was quite good. There was 2 versions. There was a Ghostbusters. It was essentially a sequel to Ghostbusters 3. It was a true sequel, and it had all 4 of the original actors in it. It was before Harold Ramis had passed away. And it really was. Yeah, it was a true sequel. It had a great cast, a great story. It took place a couple years after Ghostbusters 2. And I think it could have been fun. It should have been made into a movie, honestly. So, but yeah, timely content. It's a timely drop in, Ghost. That's true. Yeah, it was a fun. Oh, hey, Lou's watching too. Hey, Lou, good to see you. Hope things are going well, brother. what else? But yeah, it was a good game. And then there was a Wii version too that was much more dumbed down. But people said, people were like, "Yeah, this is fun. It's a fun game." But I actually really did enjoy that first most recent, not most recent, the previous Ghostbuster game. It was pretty solid. Let's see what else. So we're also talking about a judge signals a plan to approve the Activision Blizzard's $18 million harassment settlement.
Oh.
New court documents dismiss claims made, and the DFEH's objection to the settlement as simply inaccurate. So California District Court judge has said that he's prepared to approve the misconduct settlement with the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC. Likewise, the judge has dismissed claims made in the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing's objection to the settlement is simply inaccurate. So it looks like they're going to settle. Now, if I remember correctly, this was because it came out that apparently Blizzard, owned by Activision, Blizzard had created a very toxic work environment, particularly for women.
A very frat boy environment.
Yeah, it was like very much so. So it says it was announced back in September that Activision Blizzard had reached a deal with the EEOC to pay $18 million to eligible claimants, with any unclaimed funds to be donated to EEOC approved charities benefiting women in the gaming industry or promoting awareness around harassment and gender inequality issues. The settlement is still subject to court approval, but Fisher is now signaling her intent to approve. So that's cool. Let's teach these motherfuckers that, you can't be a toxic asshole and, and expect to get away with it anymore, and apparently the gaming industry is ripe with it.
Yeah. Ghost Hands just said, I kind of wonder if the Microsoft buyout will get through. Hopefully it leads to better working conditions. I don't know that the Microsoft buyout of Activision is going to go through. I think that's you're bordering on monopoly at that point.
Yeah, because then when they bought Bethesda and then them actually buying Activision too, as well. It's one of those things that they're saying why PlayStation could encounter some difficulty in competing with Microsoft or Sony anyway, if Microsoft continues buying up all of these video game companies, because if they buy up these video game companies and then Sony no longer has access to some of the most popular games in the industry, it could make it much tougher for PlayStation to compete. But there's other people saying it's horseshit. There's always going to be plenty of game companies, so we'll see.
But I mean, that would give Microsoft so many more properties. I mean, it would give them Diablo. It would give them StarCraft, Warcraft.
Yep.
Some of the
biggest games. Some of the biggest games. Yep.
Overwatch is huge.
Yep, absolutely. Very much.
I love Overwatch. I would play Overwatch and stream it.
Call of Duty. Ghost Hand was just like Call of Duty. Call of Duty, one of the highest played video games in the world.
And and that's the thing. So for me, I would play something like Overwatch and stream it, but all you'd see is me getting my ass kicked, because while I love Overwatch, I actually really do enjoy the game. I suck at it.
Oh, me too. I suck at it. Yeah, I don't like to play a lot of games where there's a lot of potential for trolling and shit, and because I just don't like that fun kind of toxic shit, I mean, if I'm going to group up with somebody and play some games, I'd rather it be like people I don't know. I think good sportsmanship has gone out the fucking window, when it comes to
it has. It's like everything else with social media, though. Social media is a tool for the cowards. It's a place for trolls to hide behind virtual identities with what they feel is no consequences and bully people.
Yeah. No, that's very true. It's very fucking true, man. And I don't like it. Mm-hmm. I've been, I've always been kind of, I'm a nice guy. I don't, I'm not the guy that, laughs at the guy that fell. I'm the guy that,
Well, and there's things that you'll have people that will spawn camp and and things like that, so that, you know, like that. I started playing the game Planet Side, which is a Blizzard game. I think no, it's a Sony game. It was a Sony game, and when you started off in this little fortress, and I would step out the door and get killed because someone would be sitting there sniping anyone that walked out the door.
Yeah, that's some horseshit.
And I'm like, that's not fun.
They're doing it all not only just to be a dick, but they're also doing it because I think if the more kills they have, that's going to elevate their level in the stat, you know, their achievements or whatever. And that's horseshit. You know, you can't fucking do that crap. So,
LAN parties were a blast when back in the day. When you would get all your friends together, you get one of those little 8-port server, 8-port switches, and everybody plug into it. Yeah, and you'd all be on the same network.
Yeah, LAN parties are a whole different story, man. I mean, that's you and your buddies getting together, a bunch of people you know, and you know, dicking around. It's the same kind of thing as talking smack on a basketball court, you know, or something like that. But I think when you're like trolling complete strangers online, I think it's different.
So along those lines, I had a buddy when I lived in Louisville. There was a place that opened up down there that it was basically you could go in and do LAN parties. They had an area where you could bring your own computers and play your own games, or you could just play in their lounge where they had a bunch of big screen TVs and a bunch of Xboxes and PlayStations set up, and you basically just rented the games. And a buddy of mine that's where he wanted to do his bachelor party. He's like, I just want all my buddies to go out. I want to play video games with you guys. So we went in, and there were 2 of us per TV, and there were, I think, three TVs. There were like 6 of us playing, or maybe 8. It was basically the most that they could actually get connected up together on the old Xbox, because this was back in the early days of this. And we were playing Halo. And I was never a big Halo player, but I learned that I'm really good with a sword. I'm not good with a gun, but I'm good with a sword. And I picked up the sword, and I was killing everyone. And they were all trying to hunt me. They're like, where the fuck is he? He's like, oh shit, he picked up the sword again. God damn it. Somebody kill him.
And then the rest is history, apparently.
Have a good night, CD.
Oh, hey, thanks.
He's got a peace out.
All right, we'll see you later, bro.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for sticking around. And it looks like we got a pretty good number of people listening right now. So, hey, it's great. If you're new to the show, thanks for joining us.
Hey, but you're not new to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, exactly. It's great to see as many people on as possible. I just hit my knee. Yeah. So all for less toxicity in your gaming environment, because it's important, man. I
think overall in the game development community, there needs to be better working environment. Everything that I've heard about between the shit going on at Activision Blizzard, the shit going on at CD Projekt Red, and just every other gaming company, in that we have to have this out, so you have to work 60, 80-hour weeks. And you know, and why isn't this done yet? You know, that type of thing that's got to stop.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's what Ghost was just saying. Halo 3 LAN parties were the closest we ever got to world peace. Yeah, it's fucking true, man. It's fucking true. So, thanks, Ghost, for bringing that up. That's pretty great. And CD, thanks for tapping in for me for drinking tonight, because I couldn't do it. What else we got going on? So they did, CD Projekt Red did confirm that there is a Witcher 4 in production, in development. It turns out that the first teaser image of The Witcher 4, or whatever it's called, the title ends up being, since we know it's not technically called The Witcher 4, even though there's nothing else to call it, depicts a medallion from the School of the Lynx, which pretty thoroughly shuts down the School of the Cat theory sparked by its first impressions. So where they're saying, there's a lot of speculation. I mean, everybody's just like, what if this? What about that? What about all these other things? It's like, guys, calm down. They just released the trailer. They just released, and not even a trailer, it's just an image. But because of that, there are a lot of people are saying that Geralt may not even be in the game, or at the very least, will not be the main character. The School of the Lynx is apparently doesn't exist in the games or so far, so it could potentially be a new school for the Witchers, because there was the snake, there was the school of the wolf, the bear, and the cat. So could be kind of cool. Needless to say, it says the first teaser image for The Witcher 4 suggests that its main character could be Ciri, the adopted daughter of Ciri's protagonist Geralt. As CD Projekt Red noted in a brief announcement confirming that The Witcher 4 is officially in development, the reveal image features a Witcher medallion and promises a new saga for the franchise. It's clear that big changes are coming to the Witcher games, and the medallion could be a big clue.
And Ghost Hand just said it's going to be super wild seeing how the game translates to Unreal 5, since it's the first time using it, not using an in-house engine.
Correct. They did state too that would not be using the same engine that they've used in the past, particularly like they're not going to be using the same engine as Cyberpunk. So it should be interesting to see how it translates into Unreal. I think it'll be fine, but it is going to be a big change. Now, my question is why? Why are they decide not to use their in-house engine? I have not been able to find that information just yet, but I'm sure
probably because Unreal is better. It's more developed for the newer systems.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I agree, Ghost Hand.
Geralt needs his time to retire.
He needs a rest, man. He's been through a lot.
Let him go off and be Captain Britain.
That's funny as fuck. Yeah, we did also, guys. Yeah, there was that rumor has been going around that Henry Cavill would love to transfer over to the Marvel Cinematic Universe and play Captain Britain. Personally, I think that'd be great. He'd be perfect.
I think he'd be brilliant
for Brian Braddock. Yeah, it'd be great. For those of you who aren't familiar with Captain Britain, read a comic book once in a while. Captain Britain was a character created in the 70s by Marvel UK, and then was eventually, did kind of jump over the pond a few times and was seen in comics. He was a mystically based superhero. Originally was gifted with the Amulet of Right, and it gave him superpowers. And then later on, he was integrated into a suit of armor that he wore that gave him kind of, low-level Superman level kind of powers. He wasn't probably not as powerful as Superman, but flying and super strong and that kind of thing.
Near invulnerability.
Right. His powers were also tied with his location to the British Isles as well. If he left the British Isles, his powers would wane if he was away from them for too long. So his armor helped him store that magic energy, so his powers lasted longer. It was also tied directly very much into the X-Men titles because his sister became Psylocke, who was one of the she was a mutant, so she became Psylocke.
Well, and he was part of Excalibur.
He was part of Excalibur, right? But because he was,
which was one of my favorite comics, honestly.
Excalibur was a great book, man. It was a great book, particularly in the early days, man. It was fucking great. Alan Davis artwork. It dealt a lot with the multiverse. It was some really cool stuff. Because Alan Davis is a British artist, and the writer was also British. I can't remember who was writing it at the time, but so it had a lot of British flavor to it, for lack of a better term. But yeah, Excalibur was a great book. They started that right after the Mutant Massacre, when a lot of the X-Men were,
when they all kind of split up.
Yeah. And
you got X-Force, you got X-Force starting, and Excalibur did its thing, and
it wasn't the Mutant Massacre. It was something else, because basically, like in Excalibur, Nightcrawler and Kitty Pryde were the main, and then Rachel Summers were the main X-Men that started it, with then also Captain Britain and his wife Megan.
Yeah,
and they were the ones that were they had been convalescing because they'd been wounded in the Mutant Massacre, when a bunch of the other X-Men had tried to sacrifice themselves, and so a bunch of people, they didn't really die. the world thought a lot of the X-Men were dead. So Kitty and Kurt decided to start Excalibur to continue on the legacy. Eventually, it was revealed, though, that Wolverine and Storm and the rest of the X-Men were okay. And they're still, they were out in the Australian outback.
Yeah, I agree. The Arthurian legend is super underrepresented in comics. I mean, between you've got Black Knight, who that's part of it.
Yeah, very much so.
That's really the only place where the Arthurian legends come into comics.
Other than Captain Britain. Captain Britain's tied in loosely, but not very directly. Right. I think that they should utilize more of their Arthurian legends. I think that'd be really cool. I like the Black
Morgan
Knight.
Le Fay in there somewhere, don't you?
Morgan Le Fay is a villainess, and she has cropped up from time to time, and Merlin crops up from time to time as well. I think the Black Knight is one of the more underutilized Avengers. I think he's going to be showing up in a new Savage Avenger title coming up pretty soon. There's they did a book titled The Savage Avengers, and it was featuring Conan teaming up with various Avengers, and it was all right. And then they're restarting it at issue 1 again.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with him in the MCU. Now that they've
Black
introduced
Knight or Conan?
Black Knight.
Yes.
Seeing what they do with him, because honestly, in all honesty,
in the MCU,
the Eternals seemed like a movie that was done just to introduce him into the MCU.
Well, just to set more things up. It was very much a setup movie.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to introduce a bunch of new characters, and that's what they did. That's what Eternals did. Now there are like Kit Harington has been real cagey. He's like, I don't know. I haven't gotten the call. I don't know when I'm coming back. I don't know whether, whatever. And so who's to say exactly when he's going to?
But the post-credit scene
back at it
made it obvious that he will be back.
He's supposed to. They're saying he's going to probably show up in Blade. And I'm like, good. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I don't see how that works, but okay.
Well, it's a sword. He's got a sword.
Yeah, okay.
I guess,
Yeah, that to me, that's I just don't see the tie-in. But I can see him coming in with some other things though as well. Just what's going on in the future. Like there's rumors of actually that's one of the other things I was seeing. There's rumors of them rebooting Daredevil now.
Yes, there was talk about that. Apparently it's not so much talk as it's they're like 85% confirmed it that Charlie Cox has said that when Daredevil does come to the MCU, he will be the Daredevil. So there's that.
And Jessica Jones wants to, or what's her name, Kristen
Ritter
wants to do Jessica Jones again.
Yeah, she has actually straight up said it. So I think all this stuff is in the works. They just aren't allowed to say anything about it yet.
I think
it's just one of those
John
things.
Bernthal has said that he'd like to do Punisher more too.
Great, he was great. I gotta admit, I thought he really killed it, and I was actually looking for I felt like he maybe wasn't big enough physically, because Frank Castle is supposed to be a very large man, but I mean Bernthal really did a great job.
He was better than I thought, because I didn't really care for him in Walking Dead.
Yeah,
but I think that might have just been his character I didn't like.
Most probably.
But I mean, dude, season 2 of Daredevil with that rooftop scene with him and Red was just fucking killer. That was absolutely one of my favorite scenes in all of the MCU shows.
I mean, it just the whole. I mean, all 4 of those shows were good. Some obviously better than others. I mean, Iron Fist had a lot of problems.
So I agree. All 4 of those shows: Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Defenders were all good.
Right? Yeah. No, I mean Daredevil. I think if they had gone maybe a 3rd season, I mean not Daredevil, Iron Fist. If they had gone maybe a 3rd season, it finally would have found its legs. But they
It
wrapped up.
shouldn't take you 3 seasons. I will give a show 1 season to find its legs.
I don't know, man. I mean, like, sometimes shows take a while. Sometimes you can see the potential.
Are they going to
you're like,
recast
okay,
Danny Rand then for the 3rd season?
that was it was. I think the kid that played him, I think if he had had better writing and had some better direction, maybe
Better choreography.
and better choreography. But like I said, I mean, the 2nd season was leaps and bounds better than the 1st season.
Yeah.
And they did end it pretty well, with Colleen taking over the power of the Iron Fist and everything. But yet Danny's still having a connection to it or something.
She's now said that she would consider coming back.
Yeah. Cool. That's cool. I'm in. I also liked
her as Colleen Wing.
She was great. Yeah. I liked the Misty Knight character. I loved the I liked the fact that what's her name? The one who played the night nurse.
Rosario Dawson.
Thank you, Rosario Dawson. I like the fact that there was that kind of overall like that character that was in all of them that kind of brought them all together. I thought that was really great. And the fact that it looked more and more like she was going to become Hellcat, which I thought was a little weird considering that.
Well, Hellcat was supposed to be what's her name, wasn't it? Jessica's
Patsy,
friend.
who was yes, Patsy. And then in the comics, she is Hellcat, you know, and so I was like, oh, I don't know how that's.
Like when she grabs those claws and says, "Oh, these are mine."
Yeah, these are mine, and she takes them, and I'm like, I'm a little confused, but all right.
Yeah. Okay, Ghost Hand, I agree. I think Keanu would be a pretty good Danny 20, 30 years ago.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keanu's a little long in the tooth to play those.
I'm waiting to see where he's going to show up in the MCU because he's been talking with them.
Yeah, he has. I mean, there was talk of him being Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah.
But I just, can he pull off a Russian accent? I think
have a good one, Ghost Hand. Thanks for stopping by, man. It was good to see you. Good to talk to you again. It's been a while. Been too long, man. Come on back.
I think Keanu needs to stick to making John Wick movies because they've been fucking great, man.
I still haven't seen any of the John Wicks. I bought the series on Blu-ray.
You bought them and you still haven't watched them.
Because I didn't realize that I bought them on Ultra 4K, and I only bought the 4K.
Yeah,
I thought I had the Blu-ray and 4K Blu-ray, and it's actually just the 4K Blu-ray, and I don't have a 4K player.
Yeah,
because I haven't gotten my PS5 yet.
Right. A year in, over a year and a half of PS5 being out, and you still haven't been able to get one. That's amazing to me.
Yep. I mean,
amazing to me.
I'll admit, they still sell out like that, man.
Yeah, I'll admit, I know I got lucky getting mine, but it's just incredible to me that it's so difficult for people to get them. It's fucked up. You should not have to camp out at a fucking store to be able to get one of the most popular, most highly sold gaming consoles of all time.
Well, that's the thing. So even then, the only places that I've seen that are doing in-store sales of them are GameStop. Every place else, it's always online, and you can't beat the bots.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, I know, man. It's fucked up. It's ridiculous. I think they've been trying. I think they've been trying to take measures to stop the bots and stop these guys from, getting them like that. But even so, when these guys, buy them, are they really making that much of a major profit by scalping them?
If you see them online, they're being sold for $1,000 still. And I'm like, fuck you, I'm not paying that.
Oh, no. Don't pay $1,000 for a PlayStation. No. And one of the main reasons why too is just supply, just the supply thing.
Yep.
The pandemic has certainly hurt the supply chain.
Yep, it did.
And now thanks to that the pandemic is slowly starting to, we're slowly seeing that the light at the end of the tunnel. at times we thought it was coming faster, but keep slowing down.
Yeah.
Now we've got this war in Russia and the Ukraine that is, well, in the Ukraine, this war of aggression, honestly. That's probably going to cause problems with supplies and whatnot too. Supplying, although
they're saying it could be a worldwide food shortage.
Yeah, I know. I heard about that because the Ukraine does supply a lot of different foods to a lot of parts of Europe.
Yeah, particularly
huge
wheat and things like that. Yeah,
yes,
which is one of the reasons why Russia wants it.
Yeah, it's a huge supplier of grains and stuff like that, and then it also has a lot of mineral resources too. So what I'm thinking is like, I think they have like precious metals, not precious metals, but various rare earth elements like that are hard to mine elsewhere. So, things that do go into making chips and stuff like that. So just so asinine. Putin is such a monster, I swear.
He is.
But
so I got to real quick. I know we're kind of going off on a tangent here, but did you hear about the whole thing where Putin did a speech to prove that he wasn't in hiding? And it was obviously shot with a green screen, because at times you see his hand like go through the microphone as he's moving.
Shit, really?
Yeah. And I guess Zelensky did a rebuttal speech, and at the end he took his mic, picked it up, and moved it to the side, and then just smiled.
Well, you gotta appreciate it's funny. You gotta appreciate that Zelensky has he's a performer.
Yeah.
He was a comedian and an actor and stuff, so he's got a sense of showmanship. And Putin is not those things. So yeah. God, it's so fucked up.
I just love that every chance he gets, he basically gives Putin the middle finger.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, however this ends up, I mean, Zelensky's going to end up having to go into hiding himself because Putin's going to have him taken out just from all of the like the middle fingers he's been giving.
Yep.
Moving on, we had Cyberpunk 2077. CD Projekt Red released a new patch for it again today. It brings it up to 1.52. Version 1.52.
Yeah, my patch failed, actually. I saw that earlier because when I logged on this morning, it said, "Oop, it failed." But I think that was because for some reason, my computer, when it goes to sleep, it kills my internet.
Well, I don't know about your internet woes, my good man, but from what they're saying, it's not any new content. This one's about smoothing out some of the game's more persisting, rough edges. The game launched back in December of 20 to largely positive reviews, but was met with a ton of backlash about its performance on the consoles. Patch 1.52 brings about a host of new fixes for bugs related to gameplay quests and the open world, the UI, and in the visuals department. The problems fixed in this patch range from minor, like broken animations, to significant, as in the case of instant death as a result of walking into a glitchy elevator during the automatic love quest. Another fix apparently stops instances where the recon grenade highlights non-hostile crowd NPCs, which will surely let all of Cyberpunk's AI people breathe a sigh of relief. Here's a complete, okay, so then there's they list the whole thing out, but there are a lot of fixes, and I haven't played it since I finished my initial playthrough.
I haven't played it in a while. I should probably.
I've been meaning to go. I've been meaning to go back to it. I've been enjoying my playthrough of Skyrim of late, but I think also I'm going to set that aside again for a little bit and get back into some of these other games that either I have not played or maybe wanting to go back to.
I've been getting like teased by Elden Ring.
Yeah, I think I'm going to wait a little bit longer on that one. It does look really cool, and it looks beautiful and looks really fucking challenging. I don't think it has the customability that Skyrim and like the Bethesda games have, but it does look really
supposedly it does. I guess that's one of the things. Oh, Clue
If it
says
does, then great.
it's hard, really fucking hard. That's the
yeah?
one thing I have been hearing, and I'm gonna post. I sent you the link, Russ. I'm gonna post it up on our Facebook page as well.
Like
The real trailer.
the real trailer for it.
Yeah,
So Lou,
it's like 6 minutes long, but it's fucking hilarious.
So Lou, you're playing Elden Ring. I'd love to hear what you think about it. If you want to type in a little bit or just let us know on the page later on. I'd love to hear what you think about Elden Ring, because I mean I've heard it's amazing, but I've also heard it is not a game for the weak of heart. It's a Dark Souls game, so
yeah,
it's made from that same studio, and Dark Souls, they don't make. It's not an easy game. From what I understand, Dark Souls is the kind of game that will make you rage quit after a while.
And that's kind of what the real trailer goes into.
Yeah.
So it's not just that. It's gorgeous game and fun, but not forgiving. So it's not just Dark Souls. It's Dark Souls and George R.R. Martin.
Right. Exactly. We got a lot. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on. A lot to unpack.
That's a lot of death.
Yeah, a lot of fucking death. So recently, it was kind of funny. The MCU, and of course, Marvel or Disney bought Marvel, and now they have access to all of the Marvel movies, all the Marvel TV shows, all the cartoons and stuff, except for one so far we've seen. Particularly since they bought Fox too, they have all of the X-Men stuff, but they still don't have the rights to the Incredible Hulk and the movie rights to the Incredible Hulk. They have at least to the two Hulk films. Yeah.
Who's got Hulk?
Paramount.
Oh, Paramount? Okay.
Yeah. So
well, they don't have rights to Spider-Man either, technically. They just have a deal with Sony to use Spider-Man.
Right. I believe it is Paramount, although you can now watch The Incredible Hulk, the second movie in the MCU, on HBO Max. If you've been using Disney Plus to watch the Marvel movies in order, you might have noticed that Phase 1 seems to skip right from Iron Man to Iron Man 2. That's because the rights to The Incredible Hulk, which premiered in June of 2008, just 1 month after Iron Man, were never purchased by Disney, despite being the second film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It's kind of the forgotten film.
It is. If you are going to skip any of the movies, that's the one to skip. After the mixed reception to Universal's 03 Hulk, which starred Eric Bana as the Smash-centric superhero, Marvel's reacquired rights and cast Edward Norton in a follow-up reboot sequel. The Incredible Hulk differs from its predecessor in that it skips through Dr. Banner's origin story and fast forwards to the scientists hard at work finding a cure for his green condition. Despite being better received and outperforming the original film, Marvel axed the idea of a sequel and decided to recast the Hulk ahead of its inclusion in Marvel's The Avengers. Mark Ruffalo would go on to replace Norton and remain a staple of the MCU for the next 10 years, when Norton's Hulk becoming largely forgotten. It's thought that the lack of a standalone Hulk movie starring Ruffalo comes from the underwhelming response of the first two. Now, honestly, Norton did a great job, and I felt that movie was fairly solid.
I think so too. I mean, the end was a little meh, but I think overall it was good. It was a good film. Mm-hmm. I think from what I've heard is the reason that they decided to recast was, one, Norton wanted too much money, and two, that I had heard he was extremely difficult to work with.
Well, it wasn't so much that he was difficult as it was he had a writing credit on the film, because he is a comic fan and a fan of the Incredible Hulk. He had a writing credit, and he didn't like the final cut.
Oh.
They cut out a few things, and he didn't like the final cut. So he asked for his writing credit to be removed, and he didn't do any press for the film. Mm-hmm. He didn't dog it out. He didn't say it was a shit film or whatnot, but he just went, you know what? I disagree, and I don't want to be associated as a writer of this film. So I don't know if he was difficult, but I guess that could be considered difficult by some. I don't know. That being said, guys, if you are streaming the MCU and you do want to catch that the hidden gem or the hidden kind of chapter, if anything, It's going to be on HBO Max on April 1st.
You do see it in the background in Iron Man 2. On one of the TVs, I think it's when he's at the race, there's a TV and it's showing scenes from the Hulk because they're talking about him rampaging and
and that's the thing too. Tony Stark has a cameo, or Robert Downey Jr. has a cameo at the very end. He's in the post-credit scene for the Hulk
with Ross.
With Ross, right? Who just passed away.
Yep.
Ross. Moving on. Let's see. I got a little thing here. These are every new Disney movie coming out between now and 23. Real quick, we got in 22 Chippendale Rescue Rangers. That movie looks like it's going to be the next Roger Rabbit. Looks pretty great. We talked about that already. Lots of big cameos in the movie. Lots of meta kind of humor. I'm really loving what I've seen. Lightyear, which is basically the story of Buzz Lightyear. I'm actually really kind of intrigued about this. I think it looks pretty cool. Strange World, an animated movie directed by Big Hero 6 and Raya the Last Dragon, Helmer Don Hall. Strange World follows explorer family, the Clades, and according to Disney, journeys deep into an uncharted and treacherous land where fantastical creatures await. We also have Disenchanted. Amy Adams is back as Giselle in Disney Plus sequel to Enchanted. Also returning is Patrick Dempsey as Giselle's husband Robert, James Marsden as Prince Edward, and Idina Menzel as Nancy Tremaine. Maya Rudolph will play the villain Malvina, while Jamie Mays will play Ruby. Nicole Brown will play Rosalind. Colton Stewart will play Malvina's son, and Oscar Nunez will appear in the movie in an unknown role. Meanwhile, Robert's daughter Morgan will be played by newcomer Gabrielle Baldacchino. Disenchanted is a musical directed by Adam Shankman and will take place 15 years after the original movie, with Giselle, Robert, and Morgan living in the suburbs. According to Disney, Giselle must juggle the challenges that come with a new home and discover what happily ever after truly meant to her and her new family.
Oh, damn, dude. That came out of nowhere. Oh, you all right?
Sorry, guys. Yeah, that just sucks a lot.
Yeah.
We got Hocus Pocus 2 in fall of 22. A sequel to Hocus Pocus. They're being real tight-lipped about that one. The live-action Pinocchio featuring Tom Hanks as Geppetto. Luke Evans is heading for another villainous turn as the nefarious coachman, while Cynthia Erivo is the Blue Fairy and Joseph Gordon-Levitt is Jiminy Cricket. Night at the Museum, Kamen-Ra rises again in 22. So it looks like we'll be seeing another Night at the Museum film. In 23, we have the live action Little Mermaid. We have Indiana Jones 5. Excuse me. We have the release dates are TBA, Haunted Mansion, Aladdin 2. Holy shit. I didn't even know they were making a live action Aladdin 2. Cruella 2, The Lion King prequel, Peter Pan and Wendy, Pirates of the Caribbean reboot, apparently another Pirates of the Caribbean with Margot Robbie, Sister Act 3, holy shit, looks like Whoopi Goldberg and Wendy McKenna are returning for Sister Act 3, hallelujah. Three Men and a Baby, the 80s comedy featuring Ted Danson, Tom Selleck, and Steve Guttenberg was a surprise hit, so much so that Disney is bringing it back for a reboot. Good God almighty. Zac Efron is confirmed to star in the Disney Plus release. We have a Tron 3. Hadn't heard anything about that. Supposedly titled Tron Ares, thanks to a slip-up from the new lead, Jared Leto. The third Tron movie is said to be directed by Garth Davis. Beyond that, we don't know much. Tower of Terror movie. Apparently with Scarlett. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs live action. The Aristocats live action as well. So a lot of big things coming from Disney. Pretty cool. Chris, you had a list that we were going to go over.
Yeah. Real quick before we do that, I got a couple quick things too. One, Wizards announced the new D&D book today.
Oh yeah.
Journey Through the Radiant Citadel. It is 13 one-shot or single thing, adventures for characters levels 1 through 14, I think it is.
Oh wow, that's pretty big.
Yeah,
range.
it is. It's a pretty big range. It's releasing June 21st. It looks kind of interesting. It's a kind of a little section of the ethereal plane is where the Radiant Citadel exists, and that's where everything's going to happen. I will probably pick this up just to have it as a reference.
Interesting.
And something that I might use later on. But yeah, so that's going to be the next one that comes out. Well, then the latest one that they've announced. The next one that comes out, I think, is Mordenkainen's
The
Monsters of the Multiverse or whatever.
Multiverse, which I am looking forward to getting. I think that one looks pretty cool as well.
I want to get that one. Yeah.
Also, last week they did also release The Call of the Netherdeep, which is their latest adventure hardcover, and it is also set in the
Wildmount campaign.
the world of Exandria.
That's it. Yeah.
Matt Mercer's campaign world for Critical Role. So it is not a resource book like the Tal'Dorei book, but it is an adventure book. Although I'm sure it does have some resources in it as well.
I think it does. Yeah. Well, it's got a lot on Marquette.
Right. Exactly. Also, another thing, a trailer I saw was for a new Mike Myers TV show that's going to be on Netflix called
Yeah, baby.
No, thank God, not Austin Powers, but it will feature Mike Myers playing like 8 different characters, and it's called The Pentaveret. So for those of you who have seen the movie So I Married an Axe Murderer, which I believe he co-wrote, he talks about one of the characters, his character's father talks about how the world is run by a secret group of the rich and powerful that they meet fortnightly. And it's the Rockefellers, the Queen, Colonel Sanders before he went tits up, and a couple other like rich families, the Kennedys or something like that. And
paper down.
Yeah. He put a paper down. Head. That's like it. He's like an orange on a toothpick.
Like Sputnik.
Like it's got its own weather system. It's huge noggin. You're gonna give the kid a complex. Love that movie. Anyway, so yeah, he's going to be playing an older reporter that is trying to basically regain lost glory by uncovering and exposing the Pentaveret. It's going to have Keegan-Michael Key. It's going to have what's his name? The one doctor, Asian American actor that's on. I can't remember his name right now, but the Pentaveret looks like it could be
about the
pretty funny.
Ken
Jeong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Hangover and
from Hangover and
Community.
Community. Mm-hmm. He is actually a doctor.
Yes, he is. He's actually from North Carolina too.
Is he? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Jennifer Saunders and Jeremy Irons also attached. I don't know, man. Ken Jeong, yeah. Jeremy Irons is the narrator. It's 6 episodes so far. Keegan-Michael Key, Lydia West, Gregory Hoyt. I don't know. Basically, some actors you might recognize, you might not. But it looks like it could be pretty fucking awesome. So you might want to check that one out.
Yeah. So one of the other things I wanted to bring up was it's a trailer that I just happened to find on. It came up on my YouTube list, and I'm like, oh, it's Karen Gillan. I will check it out because I love Karen Gillan, and it's a Judd Apatow movie that's coming to Netflix on April 1st.
Chris had me watch this trailer, and I was laughing my ass off.
Yeah, it's called The Bubble, and it is supposed to be a comedy. But what's funny is you watch the trailer, and at the beginning you're like, wait, this is supposed to be a comedy? Yeah. And because it's like this like action type horror movie that they're doing about flying dinosaurs and stuff like that. And the whole idea is that it is supposed to be October 2020 somewhere in England.
Yeah.
And it's this group of people who are shooting a movie. It's a sequel to an action series. It's
in the middle of the pandemic.
In the middle of the pandemic. So they're in the bubble. They're in this bubble, and it's this whole thing about, you can't, touching is not allowed, and you can just make, eyes at each other, and it's
they're all sequestered together too.
Yeah,
so
they're all in like this hotel and
losing their minds.
Yeah, they're losing their minds, and it's them trying to escape, and we had a breach, and all this
the
stuff.
The studio's keeping them all together.
Yeah,
finish the film.
Yeah, because they're only filming 2 movies right now, and if one of them goes under, then the studio goes under, and that scene was hilarious. Where the guy's like, "I'm not a magician." She's like, "I know you're not a magician. If you were a magician, you could pull a movie out of your ass."
Right. See, now, interestingly enough, I thought maybe that it was that they were filming, that they were playing themselves in this movie, but no,
they're not. No, and so it's Karen Gillan, it's Pedro Pascal, Benedict Cumberbatch is in it, David Duchovny's in it, Kate McKinnon, Iris Apatow, who is Judd Apatow's daughter, Leslie Mann
was his wife.
Yeah. Oh, is Leslie Mann his wife?
Leslie Mann is his wife. Yeah.
Keegan-Michael Key. There are just a number of names in this movie that you recognize.
Peter Serafinowicz, Fred Armisen.
There's one scene
Maria
where
Bamford.
You see Duchovny's like snorting cocaine off of Keegan-Michael Key's head. I mean, it looks fucking hilarious.
It was funny. Yeah, it's interesting. Iris Apatow is his daughter, and both of his daughters are actually getting much more attention as actors in Hollywood at the moment. His other daughter is on Euphoria. It's a regular character on Euphoria. Yeah, and she's really great, actually.
I haven't watched any Euphoria.
Oh man, it's heavy. It's good, but it is heavy.
I've heard it's heavy, but
it's one of those shows.
I've also heard that I've heard from everyone that I know that's watched it that said that it's really good.
It's one of those shows that you're like, you didn't realize how good it was going to be, Thanks, Lou. Lou was also went up and said Piper down.
Well, that's why I said that when he posted. Yeah, when he said that.
But yeah, Euphoria is one of those shows that you're like, the performances as an actor, the actors are just doing incredible jobs on the show, and the story is engaging, and it's much more than just like teenagers drinking and fucking. It's about life and about having a tough time and dealing with drugs and dealing with love and physical relationships and stuff like that. And it's fucking heavy, dude. It's good though. It is really, I do recommend it, but it's definitely not for everybody. And I think I said it before, there, particularly in the first season, a lot of male frontal nudity. It was a little surprising, you're like, whoa, this is a lot of, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, that's good. It's like, we've seen a lot of female frontal nudity in shows, over the years. Like, I guess time.
Dude, since Spartacus, it doesn't even faze me anymore. The forest of dicks in that was just.
Forest of dicks. Yeah, there's a lot of it in Spartacus. But Spartacus is such a cool show too.
It was.
It's like, wow. Kind of opened the door for that kind of stuff. I would say, interestingly enough, like they cast a porn star in one of the roles on Euphoria, Chloe Cherry, and she's actually doing really well. Like, I mean, she's a pretty solid actress. I don't know if this is going to enhance her porn career or if her porn career is going to stumble a future acting career, but she did a great job. I was like, wow. I'm still not completely caught up on that show. There's still, I got like 4 more episodes in the final season, but it is a solid show. Or the second season. And Zendaya she kills it, absolutely kills it. Because one of those things is like, we've been seeing her in we were seeing Zendaya everywhere, and seeing her in the show is very different from a lot of the other roles she's played. So that's cool. So yeah, go see The Bubble or see it on Netflix, guys, in a couple of weeks. It's coming out soon.
Yeah, I will definitely be checking that out when it comes out. So one other thing here that I just found, just perusing some of the sites. Marissa Tomei hopes the MCU multiverse means she can return as Aunt May.
Why not?
Well,
Sure.
I figured that the whole killing her off thing was that she was done with it and wanted to move on to other things, but maybe not.
Yeah, you never know.
I mean,
She
I'd
could
love to
be.
see her come back as Aunt May.
She's a great.
I truly loved her as Aunt May.
I really did too. I was really sad to see that they knocked her off, man. It really bummed me out.
But just her interaction with Tom Holland and like the shit with like the Peter Tingle and
Yeah.
that stuff was just hilarious.
I think part of it too is Peter doesn't have any familial contact anymore now.
Mhm.
He doesn't have before, yeah, he didn't have his Uncle Ben, but he always had Aunt May, and
Yep.
and now he doesn't have that at all in the MCU. So it's going to be interesting to see this variation on the
He's compared to the Peter in the comics, he's very young to be on his own.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's just graduating high school, for crying out loud, just going into college, and he's all by himself. So in New York for anything. I mean, granted, he probably might have inherited something from Aunt May, might have inherited, but he's not like he inherited a rich payout.
Right.
Tony tried to set him up a bit, but now a lot of that's done because of the spell that he caught that was cast. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I thought knocking Aunt May off permanently was a bad idea. It was probably the only thing I didn't like about that film.
But you know what? It was that Uncle Ben moment.
It was the Uncle Ben moment.
It was his origin. When she said the line of "with great power comes great responsibility," I'm like, oh fuck.
Yep. I knew it. I knew she was dying at that point, and because that's the thing, we never got that moment in the MCU. And I always just thought we just never saw it. I figured like it happened, we just never saw it, and but we didn't get that. So what are you gonna do?
All right. So you ready for the list?
Yeah, let's get the list here. I want to hear this. So this is a list of all of the Batman villains from
34 Batman 66 villains.
Right.
Ranked.
Okay.
Yes, these are ranked. I don't know if they give like what it is. Here's the definitive ranking of all 34 villains in the Batman 66 series, not including Lee Merriweather as Catwoman, who only appeared in the movie.
In the movie, yeah.
Number 34 is Siren, who was played by Joan Collins.
Oh, okay. Yep. Remember. Now, a lot of these guys remember a lot of these characters were created for the show and never appeared in the comic book.
Right. It says Collins does a serviceable job, but this is the one actively annoying Batman villain. Number 33 is Nora Clavicle, Barbara Rush. She was one. Her entire shtick centers on the fact that she's a women's rights activist who has taken over as police commissioner.
Oh.
Given the highly silly and absurd nature of the show, it's hard to tell if this is all goof or if it's genuinely sexist. Batman, Robin, and Batgirl do use flutes to lead a bunch of mechanical robots into the water, so it's probably all a bit, just not a terribly good one.
And I've seen all of these episodes, but it's been a long time, so then there's a few of them that I do remember that one a little bit.
32 is Lola Lasan.
Okay.
It's played by Ethel Merman.
Yeah.
As a villain, she's basically just Ethel Merman and isn't especially fun.
Right.
31 is The Puzzler, with Maurice Evans.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Puzzler is just a poor man's Riddler from the second season.
Yep, pretty much.
Which was Frank Gorshin free.
Right. Yeah, he couldn't appear in that.
Yeah.
Like he had a conflict or something.
Let's see. 30 was Sandman, which was Michael Rennie.
Okay, sure.
29 is Mr. Freeze, which is George Sanders.
Yep.
I don't remember him from the show.
Yeah, he couldn't. I remember they had a specific a room. Like he because of the accident, and it's true to that in the comics too. He had to wear a protective suit, and he had a special room that was made out, and he would flip switches, and the lights would change so that people could actually go into the room because he had to be in sub-zero temperatures all the time.
Yeah, 3 different actors played Mr. Freeze, 1 time apiece. Sanders, unfortunately, is the least interesting of the bunch. There's nothing campy or fun in his performance, and most of the time, he doesn't even wear a costume.
Yep.
28 is Colonel Gum, played by Roger C. Carmel.
Okay.
Completely. He's the villain in a 2-parter where the Green Hornet and Kato come to visit. I remember when that happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He was pretty hilarious. He has a pretty hilarious mustache, though, and dons a couple of amusing costumes. 27 is Zelda the Great, Ann Baxter.
Sure.
26, Lord Marmaduke Fogg, who's Rudy Valley, and Lady Penelope Pea Soup was Glynis Johns.
Marmaduke. I remember because there was a whole like a fog. It was like they're British and they would roll fog in, and then it was dumb. Really dumb.
The entire gang heads to Londinium, this world's version of London.
Yeah. Stupid.
It was a layer of fog created by Fogg's pipe, and it's fog with 2 F's.
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes
2 F's and 2 G's.
Straight up stupid shit that they would create for that show, I swear.
Number 25 is Minerva, played by Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Yep.
She's the very last villain in the very last episode of Batman.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
Zsa Zsa Gabor. Okay. Interesting.
24 is Mr. Freeze, played by Eli Wallach.
Okay.
He's a much better look than George Sanders, along with a more amusing plan and a homing seal. But all of that still doesn't make him a top villain. He also does perhaps the least amount of freezing of any Mr. Freeze ever. Number 23 is Ma Parker, played by Shelley Winters.
Right, I remember her.
Yep. 22 is Olga, Queen of the Cossacks, played by Ann Baxter.
Ann Baxter, who I just looked this up. I just clicked on her. She died in 85 at the age of 62. She's actually the daughter of the famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah.
Yes, I remember that. That's Olga the Cossacks, and
Queen of the Cossacks. Number 21 is Mr. Freeze, played by Otto Preminger. So all the Mr. Freezes are within like the top 12 or the bottom 12.
Right.
This is the one I remember for Mr. Freeze. He's the one that I saw that I remember. Can't crack the top 20. This version of the villain attempts to turn Batman and Robin into slush drinks. Spends a lot of time saying wild. Number 20 is the Black Widow, played by Tallulah Bankhead.
Wow. Man, it's wild. Like just how many big actors. I mean, this show had some of the biggest actors and actresses in Hollywood at the time.
19 is the Riddler, John Astin version.
John Astin's version. Okay. Very different from Frank Ocean's version.
And it says, look, John Astin is cool. He's delightful as Gomez Adams, and he's talented. He's a talented actor, but he doesn't work as well as you'd hope in his one appearance as the Riddler.
Correct.
Even if you don't hold him up to the scrutiny of a comparison to Frank Gorshin. It's too staid, and he's kind of a jerk and overly pompous.
Which honestly is kind of the way the Riddler really is. He's very pompous. He's very, very smartest guy in the room kind of thing.
It's actually one of the things I liked about the way they portrayed him in Gotham.
Yeah.
Was that's the way he came across.
Right, exactly. Or maybe even a little autistic, I mean, just, yeah. So, but Frank Gorshin also like really was a very iconic depiction of the character too.
Number 18 is the Clock King, played by Walter Slezak.
Yep. The Clock King.
Number 17, the Mad Hatter, played by David Wayne.
Yeah, he would hypnotize people with his hat.
Yeah, it would pop up.
Pop up these little eyes. And so stupid.
Number 16, False Face.
Oh, yes.
By Malachi Throne.
Yeah, he was, False Face was their kind of version of Clayface. It was supposed to be. And they ended up never using it.
15 is Catwoman, Eartha Kitt.
Nice. Classic.
Yep. She took over as Catwoman in season 3, and she's definitely a crowd favorite. She seems more committed, perhaps, than anyone else to the cat part of her name, as evidenced partly by the goofy car she drives around, which looks like a cat. When you think of Catwoman saying things like "perfect," they're thinking of Kit's performance.
Perfect.
Yeah. Which is to say, they're thinking of her performance quite a bit. The only quibble is that she seems a bit too serious about her role. Her take on Catwoman seems to lack the sense of fun, silliness that is needed for the series. Number 14, Marcia, Queen of Diamonds, played by Carolyn Jones.
Carolyn Jones, who was was most famous for playing Morticia Addams.
Yep. They had both Gomez and Morticia on the show.
They certainly did.
She was a delight on that show. She tries to bring the same energy to Batman, but the Queen of Diamonds is unfortunately kind of bland character. She loves diamonds and is a glamorous, sophisticated lady, but that's about as deep as it gets. Number 13, Bookworm, who was played by Roddy McDowall.
Roddy McDowall, yeah. Now, interestingly enough, the character of Bookworm was recently featured in a Batman comic book, a miniseries that they did that was featuring Bigby Wolf from the comic book The Fables. He crossed over into an alternate version of an alternate world where Batman exists. Was definitely not the mainstream DC universe, but they had to team up because Bookworm had found a magic book essentially from the Fablelands and had become possessed by Frau Totenkinder, who's the witch from Hansel and Gretel. And it was pretty fucking cool, actually. I was like, no, this ain't bad. So Bookworm.
Yeah. Bookworm obviously loves books and finds ways to incorporate them into his various schemes. There's that time when he blows up a bridge by taking a photo of it and blowing up the image. So that it's really big. Classic. His hat lamp is pretty ridiculous and clunky, but otherwise his look is one of the most distinctive and amusing among the villains. McDowell commits as well and is, for want of more apt word, very worby. Number 12 is Van Johnson as the Minstrel.
Oh, man. The Minstrel.
Yep.
Okay.
Minstrel plays the lute and looks exactly how you'd expect. He looks like he's right out of a Ren Fair.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that one.
Number 11, Milton Berle, Louis the Lilac.
Yeah. I remember that one. Louis the Lilac. Yeah, he was basically just a gangster.
He's a gangster florist.
Yeah. He was a gangster with his with a floral kind of thing. It was kind of like there was elements of Poison Ivy in that.
But one of the greatest highlights of his time on the show is Batgirl spraying him and making his suit all moldy.
Yeah, okay, I remember that. Yeah.
Number 10, Chandel and Harry, Liberace.
Ah, yes, the brothers. It's funny because most of these characters had several episodes. Like Carolyn Jones did Marcia, Queen of the Diamonds 5 times.
Yeah.
Louis the Lilac. Let's see. I'm just looking at the IMDb page. 2 episodes of Louis the Lilac.
Yep.
So anyway, keep going.
Number 9. So we're in the top 10 now.
So we had Liberace was number 10.
Yep. Number 9 is Archer, played by Art Carney.
Yeah. He was a trick archer. He was like, yeah.
He's an icon from The
Kind of
Honeymooners, as well as an Academy Award winner. Here he's basically playing Robin Hood, but as a bad guy.
Yeah, it was like an evil Robin Hood. Yeah. He doesn't rob from the rich and give to the poor. He just gives to himself.
Number 8, Dr. Cassandra Spellcraft by Ida Lupino.
Wow. Okay.
That
one's not ringing a
doesn't
bell.
show up until the penultimate episode, which is a shame because she's great. In short, Dr. Cassandra Spellcraft and her lover Kabbalah, which is possibly a riff of Kabbalah, are Hepcat alchemists. They're groovy, jive-talking hipsters. Dr. Cassandra also has pills that can render them invisible, and she also creates a gun that turns the terrific trio two-dimensional. She earns her spot in the top 6 of the list for attempting to bust a slew of villains out of prison, and for that amazing blind fight against Batman, Robin, and Batgirl in the hideout. In the hideout.
Okay. Lola Lasagna. That was Ethel Merman. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can remember. Lola Lasagna. All right, sure.
Number 7 is Shame.
Shame.
Cliff Robertson.
Yeah. The cowboy. Come back, Shame. Come back. Yeah. I remember that one.
Yep. Number 6, Egghead. Vincent Price.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, Egghead is so ridiculous, but exquisitely so.
He really was. He exquisitely. I mean, anything Vincent Price did he did with such fucking style, man. It was great.
Number 5, King Tut, Victor Buono.
King Tut. King Tut was another one of those characters that was just extremely memorable. You didn't see him every time he showed up. You're like, you knew it was going to be fucking goofy as fuck, but he was great. He was a character. He was an amnesiac. Would get hit in the head and would think he was King Tut reborn. It's fucking awesome.
All right, so the top 4 are pretty obvious.
Yeah,
who they are. Now the
There's
question
only a
is,
couple left.
What order will they be in?
Right.
Number 4, you want to guess?
The Riddler.
Nope.
The
Catwoman,
Penguin.
Julie Newmar.
Really?
Yep, it's Julie Newmar's Catwoman. Is number 4.
Interesting.
She was amazing.
She really was. Iconic, man.
Yep. Number 3, still not the Riddler. It's Penguin, Burgess Meredith.
Okay. So then we have, obviously, number 2 is the Riddler.
Number 2 is Frank Gorshin's Riddler.
And number 1
is Cesar Romero's Joker.
Cesar Romero's the Joker, right. Now, the funny thing is, when you talk about Cesar Romero's Joker, I never realized that he painted over his mustache. For years. Like when I was a little kid, I never saw it. I never noticed it.
It's because the red lips take away from it, I think.
Right, yeah.
Because even looking at this picture of him, I can see the mustache, but it really does. They did a good job of blending it in with his face.
He did it himself. He did it himself. He was like, because they wanted him to shave it. And he was like, no, it's like my calling card, my signature. I'm not shaving my mustache. And they're like, well, but the Joker doesn't have a mustache. He goes, just let me show you. And he painted his face and he did it and he put the makeup on and then he got into character with the laughter and everything. And they went, okay, yeah, sold us, And so, yeah, he was, if you watch Back to the Batcave, there's a lot of really cool stuff. It's a semi-documentary about the Batman movie, like TV show, featuring Adam West and Burt Ward, and it's really cool. It's really fucking cool.
Well, what's funny too is you talk about things like that, and nowadays they just green screen it out.
Yeah,
like Henry Cavill when he had the mustache and had to come back and do reshoots.
Yeah, but they fucked that up.
Yeah, but he couldn't shave it because he was still filming another movie.
Right. Yeah. What I'm saying is when they did that though, and they tried to like digitally remove, It looked weird. It looked weird. It did. It looked fucking strange. But no, there are things that they can do now.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to note, like if you look at the IMDb page about how many times some of these other characters came on board as villains and stuff. Cesar Romero played the Joker in 19 episodes. So it's probably not including the original movie. Burgess Meredith also 19 episodes as the Penguin. Julie Newmar, 12 episodes as Catwoman. Let's see. The Riddler, Frank Gorshin did 9 episodes. Victor Buono as King Tut, 8 episodes.
I can't believe King Tut was on that many times.
I know, right? It does seem weird. Vincent Price, Egghead, was in 5 episodes, as was Olga. As was the Queen of Diamonds. Cliff Robinson as Shame did 4 episodes. Eartha Kitt only did 3 episodes. 3 episodes as Eartha Kitt's Catwoman. A lot of the goons, a lot of the actors that played the various goons were
Goon
reused.
1, Goon 2, Goon 3.
Yeah, no, they really were. They were reused over and over again. Different actor, you know. Let's see, the Chief Standing Pat. Oh my God, Victor London was one of Shame's like cronies or whatever. He was a Native American. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of these like actors were just like they actually did a surprising number of episodes. But when you really think about it too, each time they were on the show, it was a 2-parter.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's when and next we meet, you know, next will Batman and Robin escape from the horrible, you know, the horrible trap of Louis the Lilac, you know. And then the next episode, because they were only half-an-hour episodes. A lot of people don't realize that the show was actually, they were only half-an-hour episodes. But they were 2-parters. They were filmed back to back. It's interesting.
Same bad time, same bad
channel. It's interesting to note how there were several characters that they never integrated into the show. Ones that probably would have been not that difficult to do, like Two-Face. I always wondered why they never brought in Two-Face. I'm pretty sure Two-Face was created before the series started. So, and then there was also like Poison Ivy. There was never any Poison Ivy. Let's see.
Yeah.
When was Two-Face?
You could do Two-Face first appearance.
Yeah, Two-Face first appeared in Detective Comics. It's 66, so it was 42. So I just never understood why they never used Two-Face. Now the cool thing was, more recently, they made an animated version. It was actually the last thing that Adam West did before he passed away. And it was an animated version.
So Poison Ivy didn't appear until April 19th, 1966.
Oh, okay. So it might have been
that was her first appearance.
Might have been a little too late in the game. But Two-Face, he's been around for a real long time. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the animated series, they did an animated movie, and I believe it's probably on HBO Max if you want to catch it. And it's called Batman and Robin. I think it's called just Two-Face, and it's got Bill Shatner doing the voice of Harvey Dent, Two-Face, along with Adam West and Burt Ward.
Oh
reprising
my
their
God,
roles.
That has got to be like one of the most ridiculously acted, awesome. over the top acted.
So good. Yeah. It's so good. It's fucking awesome. But yeah, it was
I need to make sure that's on my list.
I think if it's not on there, I have it. You can borrow it. It is well worth it.
It's called
because you get to hear two people just honest to God, it's two of the best, like most iconic voices in Hollywood. Like just monologue.
Batman versus Two-Face.
Batman versus Two-Face. That's what it was. It really is fucking great.
And it's got the old Batman 66 symbol.
Yeah. Because that's what it is. It takes place within that universe. And it was 2017.
It looks like what's her name's Catwoman too.
Yeah, well, there's a couple other. I mean, some of the other
So, Julie Newmar's
they're-
Catwoman.
well, yeah, those characters are in there, but it's not their voices because most of those characters are all dead.
Right, but I mean,
But-
that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's obviously her.
Oh
But
yeah.
So let's see.
There's
It's
also
an hour and 12 minutes. Yeah. So all right, I've got it on my list now.
Lee Merriweather does do a voice in the movie in it, but not as Catwoman. She's Lucy Diamond, and there is a Dr. Quinzel shows up too, and that's and Julie Newmar. Actually, no, Julie Newmar does the voice of Catwoman.
Okay.
So, because she is still around or was still around then.
Oh wow,
yeah.
Scooby Doo and Kiss Rock and Roll Mystery. Just looking at the other suggestions, more like this.
Oh yeah. So, pretty good stuff there.
Cool.
We should
probably wrap things up. You gotta get some sleep, man.
I do. I'm fading a bit here. So, but yeah, guys, thanks for joining us tonight. We had a pretty full, pretty good group at one point. We had like 10 viewers, and now we're down to 3 again. So I don't know if people just come in for a minute and stick and just kind of pop their heads in, or whether you do or whether you don't. Thanks for stopping by, guys. You can find us, download us, stream us at all the places you can find quality podcasting. Guys, we're on the Google Play Store. We're on iTunes. We are on Stitcher, on Odyssey, on Spotify. Stitcher, Odyssey, Spotify,
Samsung.
And Samsung. Keep forgetting that one. That's a newer one. Guys, we do this every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. Normally, I'm a little more energetic, but again, fighting a pretty nasty cold. And we do this every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. Chris usually puts the episodes up on YouTube a couple of days later. Drinking Nerds on Twitch and on YouTube. Excuse me, guys. We also do a D&D show every other Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday. That will be April 1st for our next show. It's called Tavern Nights. Come and check us out for a raucous good time. And you can see Merrick Harris, the paladin, and his companions. I was going to say his goons, but his companions fight to slay the dragon or do whatever Chris is pointing us in the direction.
Yeah, so you can also follow us on most of the social medias. We are on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show. We are on Twitter at Drinking Nerds, and Instagram Drinking Nerds, and of course YouTube Drinking Nerds as well.
Exactly. I'm just dude. I think my Dayquil is starting to wear off.
So go take some Dayquil and crash.
Pretty soon. I slept until like 2 p.m. today, though, so I'm probably gonna be up a little bit for a little bit. I mean, I went to bed late, but then I slept until like 2 because I'm just like trying to sleep this away. One of the best things for when you're sick
is sleep. Yep.
And liquids. So.
Yep. So, all right. Well, I think that's gonna about do it.
That should do it.
So on that note.
On this note.
Until next time. Sláinte. That was pretty good. All right. Have a good week, everybody.
Good night.